was just wondering, what were your opinions on the LGBTQ plus community?
Well, I don't think it's one community.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, how could it be? Just mashed together an alphabet soup. Trans is fundamentally in tension with gay, if you ask me. But what's your opinion?
I'm personally pansexual, so I was just wondering what your views on same-sex couples were.
I don't have a negative view of same-sex couples, but I do have a negative view of a tyranny of the minority. So I think that in the name of protecting against a tyranny of the majority, and there are times in this country's history where we have had a tyranny of the majority, we have now, in the name of protecting against tyranny of the majority, created a new tyranny of the minority. And I think that that's wrong.
Thank you, Vivek, for putting it so eloquently. The world has had two genders for centuries, but in the last decade, the number of genders has increased to more than 100 genders. Now, if there really are 100 genders, then the world was wrong for a century. And this is a remarkable discovery for the world. I mean, it should be right up there with what Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and Galileo discovered. So how come we haven't heard about the person who discovered these more than 100 genders? It's something to think about. If the goal is to treat everyone equally, then I don't think it makes sense to have more than 100 genders because it will lead to more segregation based on genders. Have we not learned anything from how men and women have been treated differently based on their genders throughout the history? So I really don't get this whole idea of segregating the world even more based on genders. But I digress. Let's hear what else Vivek has to say.
I don't think that somebody who's religious should be forced to officiate a wedding that they disagree with. I don't think somebody who is a woman who's worked really hard for her achievements should be forced to compete against a biological man in a swim competition. I don't think that somebody who's a woman that respects her bodily autonomy and dignity should be forced to change clothes in a locker room with a man. That's not freedom, that's oppression.
I agree with Vivek. Men and women are not the same biologically. For example, Serena Williams is one of the greatest tennis players ever, and she herself has said that men are physically stronger and faster than women, and that she would lose to Andy Murray in a few minutes if she played against Andy. We have seen many races in Olympics where male sprinters just blow past female sprinters. You can't choose to accept science only when it suits you. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to have men and women compete against each other in sports. Additionally, there is the issue of bathroom and locker room privacy, as Vivek mentioned. But no, we have to force more than 90% of people in uncomfortable and in many cases dangerous situations. It just doesn't make sense. There has to be a better way.
And so I believe that we live in a country where free adults should be free to dress how they want, behave how they want, and that's fine.
No, I don't think people should be able to wear whatever they want or do whatever they want in public. Some people may take it to obscene levels. You can wear what you want and do what you want inside your house, but not in public. One has to be civil and decent in public.
But you don't become oppressive by foisting that on others. And that especially includes kids, because kids aren't the same as adults. And so I think adults are free to make whatever choices they want, but do not foist that ideology onto children before children are in a position as adults to make decisions for themselves.
I absolutely agree with Vivek on this. Kids are very impressionable. They don't know what they want, and they change their minds all the time. Heck, how many of us wanted to be a superhero one day, then a soldier a few days later, then a doctor because we watched a movie or cartoon? I mean, I can't even remember all the things I wanted to be when I grew up. There were just too many. There's a reason we don't allow kids to watch adult content and movies containing violence without adult supervision. We should not expose kids to the whole gender debate at all.
And so I think a lot of the frustration in the country, and if I'm being really honest, that I also share, comes from that new culture of oppression where saying those things can actually get somebody punished. And in my case, it's part of why it's my responsibility to say them. And I respect that you may have a different opinion, and that's okay. Part of what makes our country great is that you and I can be civil and have this conversation, and that we live in a country that still gives us, each of us, the right to speak to a presidential candidate and back, and still say that we pledge allegiance to the same nation. So I think that's the beauty of our country, and that's my honest opinion.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you for your civility as well. I appreciate it.
Vivek absolutely nailed it. You can't expect everyone to have the same opinions as yours. As Newton famously said, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So when you push for ideas that are so radically different from what the world have been accustomed to for centuries, then you should expect pushback. That's being said, We all should be able to ask questions and express our opinions freely in a civil manner. Because that's how we learn about each other, come up with great solutions and advance society. Hence, this culture of oppression, where saying or questioning something in a civil manner gets somebody canceled because they have a difference of opinion, should stop. That being said, I absolutely admired the way the girl and Vivek conducted this dialogue. They both were very civil and respectful. She asked questions respectfully and listened carefully, and Vivek acknowledged differences in their views and expressed his views in a respectful manner. There was no yelling or profanity. They thanked each other at the end. And that's how it should be. I wish more people could learn to have civil and respectful conversations, even when they disagree. And as always, thanks for watching.